Good morning, everybody. I'm watching George Zimmerman's bond hearing on CNN, but it seems to drag on for a while, so I'm going to do a real quick video about somebody that a lot of you may know nothing about. It's 6-year-old Etan Patz. 6-year-old Etan Patz disappeared on May the 25th of 1979. He lived in New York. He told his parents that all the other kids walked to the bus stop by themselves, and he wanted to walk to the bus stop by himself. They really didn't want him to, but this was back in 1979. So things were a lot different than they are today. So relentlessly, they decided, okay, they're going to let Aiden walk to the bus stop by himself. Sadly, they never saw their little boy again. It's still, that's been 33 years ago. I have no idea what happened to him. Of course, there were some suspects that didn't pan out. There was a man named, I think his name was Jose Ramos. They arrested him, but they didn't have enough evidence on him, so they had to let him go. The reason that they went to him was because Jose's girlfriend used to babysit for Aiden. And now Jose lived in a drain pipe under the street in New York. So they went down there to try to find evidence, and they couldn't find anything, so they had to release Jose. And several years later, I think it was, I put my notes down on here, so excuse me. So they found, I think in 1988, they arrested Jose again, because back in the drain pipe, they found pictures of little blonde boys. And Aiden was a little blonde boy. But the reason they found that is because some kids had reported that he had been stealing their backpacks at the bus stop, trying to get them to come down into the drain pipe. So he was arrested on that. However, he was never charged with anything on Aiden, because they say without a body, they have no charge. That's another case. I've told you about the Steve Epperly case, and I'll do another video about that later. But as far as Aiden goes, nobody's been charged with it. But now, according to the news last night, there is another clue. There's an apartment building, I believe it's an apartment building in New York, in that area, to where they've got law enforcement there now that's literally digging up the basement. They're digging up the basement, they say, to find some kind of either clothing, remains, or something of Aiden. And they say it's a very good tip that they got. So it has to be a very good tip for them to dig up an apartment building, the basement, to try to find a boy that's been missing for 33 years. Hopefully, this would be like a case where the other kids would return home. Maybe he was kidnapped by a lonely woman that took him. That's what the dad thought for a long time, and hoped that if that be the case, that she would take good care of him. And, you know, being 6 years old, if he had been kidnapped and taken way far away, you know, he might not have much of a memory of that. So maybe Etan Patz is still alive. But after this tip that they got some 33 years later, somehow, I just don't think so. And some people say, well, I would never let my child walk to the bus stop. That was 1979. Things were a lot different in 1979. And as a matter of fact, Etan Patz was the first milk carton child. Remember on the milk cartons where they would have missing children? Etan Patz was the first one on the milk carton. And I remember Etan Patz. I remember when all this happened. 1979 was the year that I had my son. As a matter of fact, my daughter was born in 78. Joe was born in 79, and 79 is the year that Etan Patz went missing. I wish that he would be alive, of course, but in a sense, I hope they do find something in that basement, and so that way everybody will at least know. You know, that must be that would be such a horrible feeling. You know, the guilt that the parents had to feel over their child not coming home. And the thing of it was, the mother waited for him to come home that evening from school, and he never came home. So she called the school, and the school said he was never in school. So Aiden Patz disappeared on his way to the bus stop. Again, the man that they had the man that they had arrested, the man that they arrested, Jose, in 1988, I'll get it out, had told them then that he took a little blonde boy that morning on the same day that Etan Patz went missing. He said he took a little blonde boy and he took him to this apartment building, but he turned him loose and let him get on the subway to go visit his aunt somewhere. And so, but the parents said he didn't have an aunt by that name. And he didn't have an aunt that lived wherever that man said he sent him to. So either the man lied about that, or he had some other little boy that he set loose. But that's just scary how he lived under a drain pipe. I mean, lived in a drain pipe. So you know, anybody that's going to live in a drain pipe and try to coerce little boys to come down to there is no good. And they're not just going to take them down there and offer them cookies and milk and let them go home. You know, we all know this. But I just wonder what this tip is about this apartment building. But as soon as I find out anything else about little Etan Patz, I'll be back to let you know. And now I'm going to go watch some more of the Zimmerman case, and I'll probably do another video about that today. And it's looking like, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's looking like Zimmerman may be released on bail. But we'll find out shortly. And until next time, bye-bye.